welcome back. And today we are going to be talking about why you should stop doing cardio for fat loss. And so I want to start with a little bit of backstory about myself and as well as about some of our clients who have really relied on cardio in the past for their goals. So when I first started my fitness journey, I thought that cardio was the way. It was burn as many calories as possible because calories in, calories out. So I would be on the treadmill and I'd run the thing up until it hit the 600 calorie limit, and it would run for hours and hours to hit that mark. I would jump from cardio machine to cardio machine. I would bike or run to the gym and run back and have a workout in between. And I would do Insanity and P90X cardio DVDs at home as much as I could. And no matter how much I did, multiple workouts a day, I never saw the results that I was looking for. And I couldn't figure out why. I would just be picking myself apart in the mirror and never really figured it out until now, in hindsight's always 2020, I can see clearly why that wasn't the case. And similarly, one of our clients, Jenna Lynn, who has actually lost over 110 pounds with us in total and has actually now competed in a Spartan race and is training for a marathon, not for the cardio, but because she wants to challenge herself. She actually was able to reach the 110 pound down mark by actually stopping all the cardio that she was doing. When she came to us, she had lost about 40, 50 pounds on her own, but was spending about an hour or two on the Peloton a day. Absolutely insane. But she was doing a ton of cardio and her progress was actually getting slower and slower and slower, and she was getting more and more tired, and her time was running shorter and shorter and shorter because she was just trying to ramp up the calories burned and the calories out as much as possible. What she didn't realize was she was running her metabolism into the ground. And so it wasn't until we actually cut that cardio more than in half, switched her mode of training, that she was able to lose the other 50, 60 pounds and keep it off and now pursue these performance-based goals. So let's talk about cardio and why it's not the solution for your fat loss, even though it seems like the most logical thing to do when you want to burn as many calories as possible, right? So what does cardio do? I'll break it into two categories: physical and mental. So physically, cardio will burn calories in the moment though. The problem with cardio is that it doesn't burn calories after the fact. Certain kinds of cardio will, but it has a less long-lasting effect than other forms of exercise that can actually burn more calories in the long run. And doing a ton of cardio in excess combined with restrictive dieting can also run down your metabolism by eating away at your muscle mass and making your metabolism slower as a result. This is going to set you up for, you guessed it, having a slow metabolism means when you go off track or when you're done with the diet, you're very, very vulnerable and prone to gaining the weight back very quickly. And so when it comes to doing as much cardio as possible physically, this can be detrimental to your fat loss progress in the long run, even though it might get you really quick results on the scale in the short term. Now, the second piece of this is psychological, and I think that this is arguably more important when it comes to seeing the best long-term results. So with cardio, when we're doing lots and lots of cardio, it's reinforcing the mindset that we need to earn our food and we need to eat only in a deficit from what we have burned in our cardio sessions. And it also reinforces that we are burning off the food that we eat, which is not how this works and is not the case. But that was the cycle that I was trapped in. Anytime I overate, I would be like, all right, well, that's, the next 600 calories that I just ate, that's what I have to burn tomorrow on the treadmill or on my run. And it's a very unhealthy mindset to perpetuate because it really perpetuates that all or nothing thinking. It perpetuates just feeling like nothing you ever do is really ever going to be enough, because if you really go through that cycle enough, you'll know that it's a lot easier to eat your calories than it is to burn them off. And so This can lead to a really, really toxic cycle of trying to burn as many calories as possible, never really being able to catch up to the goal that you have, running your metabolism into the ground and feeling more tired and more exhausted, and actually having a weaker body and feeling more skinny fat at the end of the process than toned and lean and strong. And so the worst part, I think, is that also it leads you to a belief that cardio works and it's something that you can rely on to, okay, if I do a lot of cardio, I see the scale go down, or I get less bloated, or I sweat a lot. That's a big one that I hear is I just feel like I sweat a lot and I beat my best time, so I'm progressing. So we build this narrative that it works, when in reality, if we're having to do cardio to the max over and over and over again for years on end, and we're never really getting to where we want to be long term, and never really being able to chill and just exist and live a balanced, healthy lifestyle, then did it really work in the first place? And the answer to that, in the long run, in hindsight, if you've yo-yoed over and over again in your life, then you know the answer is no. So here's what you need to do instead. In order to lose fat for life, be able to keep it off and not be a slave to the treadmill or to the Peloton or to running outside, what you need to do is shift your mode of training from cardio to strength training. Strength training is going to build your muscle, which in turn will optimize your metabolism, which will allow you to actually burn more calories in the long haul. So if I had to categorize it, steady state cardio like running, biking, that is going to burn calories in the moment, but your body will actually compensate after by making you feel lazier and more run down after. HIIT cardio is this popular type of cardio that is meant to have this afterburn effect, which is essentially you burn calories during, but it's short and it's sweet, and then you have the next 24 or so hours where you're burning more calories after the session because of the way that the intervals were structured. And that is the second best, but the absolute best way to burn as many calories as possible is when you strength train. You build muscle up over time, and muscle just takes a lot of calories to maintain on your body. So you essentially become a machine that takes a lot of energy to fuel rather than constantly trying to play this balancing game of calories in versus calories out. Your body is burning calories day to day for you, which is so powerful because then you don't have to worry about counting every little thing that you eat and blowing up the next day as a result or having to burn it off. And so we want to build the habit of strength training, combine that with the habit of being able to just eat a well-balanced diet, not restricting and not needing to earn the food that you eat, but just having a balanced 80-20 lifestyle overall. And those things in conjunction are going to get you results like our client Jenilyn, who was able to lose the 110 pounds, but also she doesn't have a lot of trouble keeping the weight off now because she's built so much muscle and the routines and the habits in her life that are allowing her to keep the weight off pretty effortlessly, even through traveling multiple weekends a month for work. So basically, takeaways from this episode, you want to make sure that when it comes to your fat loss journey as a whole, you're not overly relying on one tool to see the results that you want to see. So for a lot of people listening to this, that would be cardio and just trying to burn as many calories as possible. But for others, it could be restricting your calories and trying to restrict as many calories as possible. And one thing in excess too much typically is not going to be sustainable as a whole. So instead, we're going to build the habit of building muscle, building your metabolism, eating balanced meals, having an 80-20 lifestyle. And that's how you're going to not only lose fat, but keep it off for longer because your metabolism will have benefited from it. So hopefully you learned something, you took something away from this, and I'll see you in the next one.